right, what is going on, Amazon sellers? Welcome back to the weekly live news and Q&A show built just for you. I'm Chris Grant, along with my prolixious co-host Chris Rasick. Today, we'll chat about a few pieces of news that should be of interest to you as Amazon sellers. And of course, we are here to take your questions about anything relating to Amazon, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, or wholesale. Chris, what's going on, man? How's your week been so far?
It's been pretty good. No complaints here. Had a phantom Amazon email, and it said, "We received your submission, but they want more details. They asked for like invoices, blah blah blah, and it's something that I've been sold out of for months. Something I sold over the summer. Listings closed, so I'm waiting for that to bite me in the ass, for no apparent reason.
Right. Hey,
so,
Kent, what's going on?
Like
Luke, yes, that basically does mean long-winded. It does. I heard some disturbing news. I thought I might get off the jump from this. This is breaking news from DC. Apparently, Biden plans to pardon Amazon price tankers.
And that's gone a step too far.
Joji, what's going on? All right, let's talk a little bit of news, and of course, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat, and we will get to it. There has been a bit of a bundling update. We talked about this, I think, maybe last week or the week before, but Amazon dropped the hammer on bundles. Okay, they have put out a clarification, sort of. This almost seems like a little bit of a step back, in my opinion. So here's what they said. All bundles must be product configurations packaged by the original manufacturer or brand. And of course, they give the example again. You could list a bundle that includes Dawn dish spray and dish spray refills that was originally packaged by Dawn. Think what you might pick up at Costco. However, you cannot list a bundle of Dawn dish spray and dish spray refills that you have repackaged. You also cannot create your own bundle combining Dawn products with, say, gloves or sponges from other manufacturers or brands. So we understand that. Secondly, products may be reconfigured and repackaged as bundles if you have a letter of authorization from a brand owner or manufacturer granting permission to repackage. So there is a way to be able to do this, but all the products in a bundle must belong to the same brand, and the bundle must be branded with the same brand name as the products. So you can't go out there and take some, I don't know, let's say some sauces from a manufacturer, or actually, here's a good example. Killer Barbecue, Hog's Heaven, or something like that. They make spices, and what they will do is they'll put it together and then maybe have a measuring spoon, and it'll be the name brand of the measuring spoon. You're not going to be able to do that. But there is a third caveat. Gift items listed within the gift basket category may contain products from multiple brands that are physically bundled together for customers in a manner suitable for gifting. And when I read this is where the comments went off the rails, because this is not as clear as what Amazon sellers are hoping for. This might be a win for snack box sellers, but there is no gift box node on Amazon. So like some sellers were confused, like how do I actually list my snack box? But the other thing is it says here, we really got to read their words, in a manner suitable for gifting. So in my opinion, the way that I read that, that's not necessarily just, I'm going to throw a bunch of different chips into a cardboard box and call it a day, because that's not really suitable for gifting. What is suitable for gifting is actually one of those gift baskets, those, the, I don't know what they're made out of, but a gift basket that's wrapped in cellophane and that you would give to somebody, that's got some fruit and cheese and meats in it and things like that. Now, the other thing is that compliance on this is due immediately. So if you're going to Wicker, thank you, Kent. The compliance on any new bundles is required immediately. Any current bundles need to comply by January 1st. So it seems like January 1st, we are going to have a bit of a bundle geddon, if you will.
Yeah. So they mentioned that did they say future tense or present tense that notifications are going out? I thought I've seen a couple come through. Yeah. They have no impact on account health, but and I forget the wording is, because I ended up just getting rid of it and closing the listing. So I don't know if that's what it's going to look like or whether there's something new coming.
Yeah, that's a good question. They were not incredibly clear. I went into the forums so that you people don't have to. I'm not looking for pats on the backs or anything like that. But as I was reading through the comments, Amazon answered one or two questions, but their answers to questions are just repasting what they already wrote. Like, there is no additional clarification. So I have no idea.
Yeah. So the question is, how many more notifications? I'm curious. We can't know the answer to this, but I'm curious how many notifications they've gone through. Mm-hmm. Are they all in the future, or have we received what we're going to receive already, or some of us? So that's the question. Does it remain, compliance is required immediately as of January 1st? Does it remain no impact to account health? Is there any kind of ding that's going to be associated with it?
That's a good question. I would imagine it's going to, I don't know. I would like to think that it's going to be no impact to health, but is that the case for people whose entire business is bundles? Like,
right.
How many bundles can you have before it's all right, your account's going to get nuked because you're obviously not wanting to play ball here?
Right. And the fact that they're not saying anything, that isn't much, consolence there, because who was it? Some of the beauty products that they said were going to be restricted, they didn't necessarily say it was going to ding your account, but then all of a sudden on the effective date, everybody's getting hammered on their account health if they hadn't removed those listings. Mm-hmm. So, silence isn't necessarily a good thing on that.
No, not at all. And we have talked about this multiple times, but I don't understand why communication seems to be so difficult on the seller side. Now, I know that they cannot necessarily say hold an office hours, over things like this and try to answer questions, because everything's got to run through legal, and they've got, a bureaucratic machine that has to pump out information and all that stuff. But man, they would really help us out if they would just be like, hey, we're gonna answer questions off the cuff based on what we're doing here. My other question is, I wonder what's causing this. Which brand or which brands got together and finally went to Amazon and said, we've had enough. We're tired of all these, we're tired of Buy the Cup and all these other quote unquote brands that are, selling our brands with a spoon, a stick, and, a magnet and that kind of thing. Was it one big brand that said, take these down, or we're going to make sure that nothing of our brand gets on Amazon again? And if that's the case, was it like a Mondelez where they own basically half the food supply in the country? Or was it, just a bunch of brands that got together and did this? I'm curious what happened on the backside.
Yeah. My guess, it's probably, I guess, my guess would be a cumulative effect, because they've had, this is simply more drastic wording to wording that they've had in place for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What was the old policy to where the brand had to be listed as the item that was the most valuable? Where am I
Yes.
pulling that from?
Yep.
Is
That's
that was the
correct.
old bundle policy?
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously, so that wording was put into place, and I immediately think of those shampoo and conditioner combos that you get a sample hunk of some stupid soap, and then they bundle it, and then that's their brand.
And they list
honestly,
that soap on Amazon for like $50.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, just trying to find a loophole or something to get away with this. So Amazon's been, obviously they know about that. They don't like it, and honestly, if I was a corporation, I wouldn't like that either,
Mm-hmm.
because that's, especially, trying to brand it as your own, that if I was in a legal department of a big corporation, that kind of burned me up.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to look at a little bit of a silver lining here, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, this is going to ruin my business, et cetera, and so on. Well, technically, you probably weren't really following terms of service anyway, but I think there's actually a silver lining here for arbitrage sellers. And that silver lining is if a bunch of these bundles get knocked off the platform, and I don't know, let's say there's 1 million of them on the platform, that traffic is going to go elsewhere. And so what we may end up seeing is some demand curve go up a little bit. And we know that if the demand curve goes up a little bit and the supply stays the same, the price should go up a little bit as well. So maybe we see some higher prices on a few things that in the past, saw a lot of price erosion. Now, that is maybe looking through rose-colored glasses, but I mean, it follows along with the rules of supply and demand. So I hope that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not far-fetched either. I remember when this first came up, when we talked about it on the show. You mentioned shampoo and conditioner as an example. That's an incredibly convenient bundle. And if the brand doesn't have their own, because originally when this came out, it was supposed to have its own UPC. So if brands don't have that, that's just a make sense thing. That's just convenience to the Amazon customer. Instead of adding two separate things to a cart. I assume, I don't know. At my house, we buy one bottle of shampoo to 25 bottles of conditioner. So that ratio, but I'm assuming my house isn't normal. That's my default setting. But that makes a lot of sense. So you're going to make them go and hunt down two different products, add it to the cart. That goes against what Amazon's philosophy is. They want it as fast as possible. They want one-click checkout. They want you to be able to have the order in one click on that detail page. So, and not only does that make me question how strict are they going to enforce this? I could see a lot of stuff, just no communication, shampoo and condition bundles that don't follow the letter of the law here. Just kind of, Amazon doesn't say anything, just kind of let it ride. I could see that happening. The other thing that becomes fairly interesting is who's going to start hunting letter of authorizations. Like we've how different is it than, the approach to canvassing for wholesale?
Yep.
You're reaching out to distributors, you're reaching out to brands. We know how to do this. Some of us have executed more than others, but we know how to do this. So I wonder if that's a path to profitability, is to actually go and seek out letters of authorization, because from what it sounds like, if you actually got that letter, you got a pretty big moat, at least for a little while, until other sellers catch on and realize that a letter may be easier from one brand or another, and kind of navigate those waters.
Yeah, that is a good question, and I don't know. This puts my business idea kind of up in the air a little bit. My business idea was food snacks for prison inmates. Okay, like a little snack box. That's actually a search term that shows up on Amazon, and there is nothing exactly like that. Like there's no, prison box with bars on it and stuff. And so I think it would do very well. But the question is, do I really want to go get letters of authorization from all the brands? Like, hey, I'd like to put you in a gift box specifically for inmates, because you guys are missing a key demographic.
What have you come up with any brand names?
No. I did at one point, and I lost them. But I'm sure that a little bit of time with ChatGPT, and I could probably come up with some pretty good ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of you think that you could use some like alliteration, like if it was a drink mix, it could be like the Clink drink, and
Oh, I like
Slammer
that.
Sammy's, and yeah.
I like that a lot.
So the big question is, we're still sitting in the first week of December, so we get this little bit of clarification, mostly restating and a little added confusion, with some caveats. What is your sourcing strategy moving forward for the last 3.5 weeks of December? You gonna still buy multi-packs?
Outside of grocery, yes, I think so. Yeah, but you and I source differently than a lot of other people. We're not going 100, 200 deep on anything.
Right.
If that's what I was doing, I would say I'm probably going to stay away from all bundles and multi-packs that could be considered a consumable product, including anything that's ingestible or goes on the skin. And yes, they do consider hair part of the skin. So anything outside of that, I would probably be okay with. Yeah, if it's a 2-pack of tape measures, not going to worry about that too much. Multi-packs that are not created by the manufacturer or bundles, going to stay away from in grocery for now.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT gave me the lockdown box. That's what they gave me, was their first one.
Lockdown box. Ken has prison bars. I like that.
I like
That's
that too. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we got a PL. We got a PL item coming up. We're gonna do prison protein bars. I like it. All right. One of my favorite times of year is not Black Friday, not Cyber Monday, not Cyber Week, not Small Business Saturday. It's the Tuesday after Cyber Monday, because I get the listicles of all the numbers. All right. So leading up to the shopping days, I get to get some dopamine hits reading all of the forecasts. And then on Tuesday afterwards, we get to see how close they were. And I don't know why, but it's one of my favorite things. So we're going to talk about the numbers. Before the 5-day Thanksgiving weekend, which is Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday, the National Retail Federation forecast that there'd be 183.4 million consumers that would shop both in stores and online. The number who ended up shopping actually blew their numbers out of the water. They say, quote unquote, fairly dramatically. with 197 million total consumers. Now, they did say that shoppers opted for convenience both in-store and online, obviously. A total of 126 million consumers shopped in store, which is up from 121.4 million in 2023. So pretty significant jump of people who wanted to go in stores. Online shoppers totaled 124.3 million, which is down from 134.2 million last year. So a 10 million drop in online shoppers. I am taking that number with a little bit of a grain of salt because this is the National Retail Federation. They care more about brick and mortar retailers first. So as much as I like numbers, we have to remember that, there's lies and there's, statistics, and they're kind of the same thing. They also went on to say that higher income households were significantly more likely to shop online, with 60% of households earning more than $100,000 per year opting to shop on the internet. Just 40% of households earning $50,000 a year shopped online. So the online shopper is a better customer segment. Okay, definitely going to spend more, things like that. The NRF, the National Retail Foundation survey or Federation, found that 81.7 million consumers shopped in stores on Black Friday, which is up from 76.2 million last year, and it's the highest level since the pandemic. Approximately 87.3 million shopped online, down from 90.6 million in 2023 for Black Friday. Now, we go to Adobe Analytics, and they monitor online spending. They say that Cyber Monday online sales outpaced Black Friday yet again. Adobe said consumers spent $10.8 billion on Black Friday, which is up 10.2% from the previous year. Big jump for Black Friday. Shoppers spent $10.9 billion over the weekend of November 30th and December 1st, which was a 5.8% bump from last year's total. Adobe also says that they show a record holiday season for spending online, with Cyber Monday growing 7.3% year over year to $13.3 billion. I read another statistic that at the peak, people were spending over $15 million, I think, an hour. Is that right? I think it was $15 million an hour on the internet. That can't be right. Maybe it was 15 million a minute. I'll have to go back and look, but it was a lot. Cyber Week was up to 41.1 billion, which is an 8.2% total increase year over year. 57% of online sales came through a mobile device on Cyber Monday. That's an all-time high. It represents about $7.6 billion in online spending, and it's up 13.3% year over year. And Adobe has adjusted their full holiday season numbers, which is November 1st to December 31st, to hit $240.8 billion in online spending. That is up 8.4% year over year. And we have to remember that Amazon gets 51 to 58 cents of every one of those dollars. So we've still got some good times coming, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot, yes.
So the increase in online spending, that makes sense. I mean, what we have here is the two places reporting are kind of favoring their preferred vehicle for shopping.
Yes.
Right. Adobe is going to prefer online. Obviously, the retail National Retail Federation is going to, like you said, support brick and mortar. So maybe a little bit of numbers are juiced a little bit, or they covered their eyes to certain things. But I mean, you see the overall increase, and again, this trend just marches on to where more and more people are shopping online. It just becomes commonplace. It's too convenient to ignore. And unlike, back in my day as a kid, the blinking VCR clock, you are able to teach old people how to do this. So, right. So that's no surprise. That's good news. The surprising thing, even if it's fudged a little bit, why is the retail traffic, why is the foot traffic increasing according to the NRF? That's a good
question.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was. Is it just people wanting to get out of the house and go do something? And shopping happens to be a part of that. Is it people cutting out of Thanksgiving dinner early? Although most stores are closed on Thanksgiving Day nowadays. It's not like it was a few years ago. I don't know. Not sure why people are going into more stores. And a lot of them, it said, a lot of them were department stores. Like people are going back to department stores for the holidays, like when I was a kid. So malls were seeing increased traffic. It wasn't necessarily Target or places like that. Matter of fact, I know that when I dropped my son off at work on Black Friday, there were Target, Walmart, none of those places had lines. The only place that I saw that had a line was a Five Below, and that did not compute for me.
Yeah. No, I wonder if there's still like, are we still getting back to normal? Is it like maybe we jumped the gun and thought post pandemic that everything is back to normal. Maybe there's still more getting back to normal. Maybe it was. Because nostalgia is really hot right now, so I wonder if, maybe the nostalgic thought of going in person and, let's beat back some crowds and find some deals. It could be fun. Maybe that enough time went by and normalcy has set back in, to where that sounded like a good idea, or are they, does the consumer think that there's a better deal in person? Is this discount? Is this bargain hunting? Thinking they'll save more money. Is it price sensitivity that way?
That's a good question. Yeah, I wish I could answer that. I sort of like to think maybe we're still getting back to normal. And I was thinking about this earlier today. I went to one of my least favorite places, Costco, this morning. I love
Least
Costco.
favorite.
I love Costco. It's a great place. They've got great stuff. I just wish that I could go when it's not so peoply, and it's always very peoply. But something I noticed today,
spoken like a true online arbitrator. Like,
right?
I love the store just except for all the other customers.
And something I noticed today, though, is it was very busy at 40 minutes after they opened. Had a hard time finding a spot to park. But I did notice a lot more people there who were wearing masks. Now, I know it is, it's that season where there are more respiratory illnesses. And so maybe it was that. But I'm curious, is it people who may have shopped online last year, but now they're finally like, you know what? I really want to get back into a store. And so I'm going to protect myself a little bit. I'm going to go back in person because I miss, that feeling of being around people.
Yeah. And you know what, the one advantage that physical stores, brick and mortar stores have over online is they can actually set the timing of discounts better than online, right? Online retailers, they can try, but the trend in online is to spread the deals out. You want sales that you're not just kind of in the corridor of Cyber Weekend, this 5-day period. They started them. Black Friday deals are started early. and then they're still, now you get all the, we extended, you get all those stupid emails, right? So you have a very long period of time to get online deals, which is also something we should talk about as far as like sourcing. But the brick and mortar store can actually capture the scarcity of a limited time, a set time and a set end. They can do that better than the online stores.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they have marketing that's any good, they could capitalize on that and maybe kind of grab some exclusive traffic.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that was happening or not.
You are right about the, keep pushing those sales a little bit longer. Email inbox was absolutely wrecked over the weekend and Cyber Monday. And I even found myself saying, you know what, I'm gonna hold off because I know that there's another email coming. I know that there's a different sale that's going to be happening here in just a little bit. I'm gonna hold off just a touch. And sure enough, right on cue, it happened.
Yeah, we're remodeling. My uncle is handy. I am not. However, I will admit that I'm not handy, but I do know how to say WTF. I don't know why they did it that way, which seems to be about half of the job of a handyman.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever met a handyman that hasn't like walked around shaking their head, just going, I don't know why they did it that way. So I feel like I'm halfway there, but anyway, so we're had to buy a bunch of stuff from Menards, right? And so he's texting me, and he's not super savvy, I mean, he can manage his way around a smartphone, but even in person barely speaks in complete sentences. So you can understand the challenge. So he's like, hey, and I said, well, where do you think, do you have any ideas on where I should go to search for, and it's bathroom faucets, kitchen faucets, that, that sort of stupid stuff. And he goes, well, hey, Menards, you could jump on Menards because they have that 11% rebate and it ends tomorrow. I said, ooh, does it? I said, what they didn't tell you is that the next 11% rebate starts the day after that.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever seen Menards without, some sort of promotion for 11% rebates.
Oh yeah, so. It's all the time. All right, and guys, we are going to get to your questions. So if you have questions, make sure to drop them in the chat. I'm gonna hop on a little bit of a soapbox for this last piece of news. This last piece of news is good news, in my opinion. But a gentleman by the name of Brett Bartlett, who some of you listening may know, a lot of people may not. He once peddled Dynasty toys, and he was sentenced to 15 and a half years in prison for wire fraud, mail fraud, and securities fraud, and money laundering. Brett Bartlett was in the Amazon community, and he was also ordered to serve another 3-year term of supervised release following his imprisonment, and to pay $22.5 million in restitution to his victims. I'm guessing that part is probably not going to get paid. During his previous guilty plea, Bartlett admitted that he used his California-based company, Dynasty Toys and 7ME Group, and devised a scheme to defraud investors and get their money by making false and fraudulent claims and promises. He purchased items at liquidation sales and resold them online, mostly through Amazon. He then solicited and promised annual returns of 20 to 40%, and later had people purchase Dynasty Toys preferred stock shares. The only toy I ever saw them sell on Amazon was a laser tag gun, and got people really hyped up in the Amazon community about this, got them to invest and so on. And Bartlett ended up claiming that the business was expected to double in value. He even told people that his shares were worth approximately $30 million in the company, and that someone was going to buy it for $120 million, which, if the market cap is $30 million, you're probably not getting a 4X on an e-commerce business where Amazon is your first go-to. But as a result of all this, he collected money from over 1,000 individuals for a total of $22.5 million. He also admitted that he mailed investors checks, which got him the mail fraud charge, totaling millions of dollars, and all those checks bounced. After those checks bounced, he used the cash to take his family members and employees out to a luxury business retreat in Big Bear Lake in California, because it's tough signing checks that are no good. The court found that investors lost approximately $22.5 million. Many of the victims said that they also lost their life savings, their retirement funds. And during the latest testimony, some people came up and said that, it's not only about the financial loss, but also the sense of betrayal, because they trusted Bartlett, who repeatedly told the investors that they were his family and that he shared their faith in God. And I watched some of the things, and he was very religion, on his shirt sleeve kind of guy. And I always felt something was off. Really kind of made me sick. But fortunately, this guy is in prison. Unfortunately, I highly doubt that any of these victims get back any of their money. So little good news, little bad news.
Yeah. So this is how long? This has only like vaguely been on my radar. I wasn't in the space, but this has been going on a long time, right?
He was very popular in the Amazon space during COVID. Very popular
during COVID. Okay.
Yeah. So I know he started off selling like face masks, and then brought out Dynasty toys, and that was all kind of in that COVID period.
Okay. Huh. I mean, that's at least it's settled. Now have all of were there accomplices? Like, how did he get such a big platform? Was he just vocal and just kind of grassroots it, or what?
I know that some of the communities on, in the Amazon space brought him in and had them talk to their communities. So I know that's how, he got a lot of people. No one was named as co-defendant or anything like that. So I can't say that anyone was guilty or anything like that. But yeah, this guy got a lot of people, and I saw him talk, and the whole, it was just very, God's on our side, that kind of stuff. It's just, I don't know. I don't like it. And I'm seeing it happen quite a bit here recently. So.
Yeah, that's, what I mean, however you feel, I mean, it's pretty crappy to prey on a loyalty that comes from, the community, that a religion, and a parish and parishioners, provide for each other. I mean, you got to be pretty low, to take advantage of a situation like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I got this sent to me, I was glad this guy's going to be behind bars, and hopefully he'll be one of my customers, or one of our customers for Prison Bars, the new protein bar coming out to Amazon to you or soon. All right. Let's answer some questions. Of course, you guys have questions. Let me know in the chat, and we'll get to those. But Luke, let's start off with you, man. Am I out of luck on Amazon if I ordered 5 each of 3 ASINs of one brand, and only one solitary box has a code on it? Amazon approved me after asking for one code. Then it didn't actually ungate and started asking for 5 codes. It's saying the original code is invalid. I'm guessing you may mean transparency codes, Luke. And if that's the case, you are probably out of luck. Yes. This is something that bothers me with transparency codes. Transparency codes, when they're used by a brand, are supposed to be on all products throughout their entire supply chain. but often that is not the case. They do not do it, and somehow even Amazon has some that do not have transparency codes on them, even though they're transparency enabled. So unfortunately, you are probably out of luck on getting ungated until you get 5 units that actually have transparency codes. And honestly, I would not send the ones in that don't have transparency codes, because if they say this is inauthentic, even if you say, hey, I bought it from you, Amazon, they're going to be like, where are these transparency codes that are supposed to be on everything, which is silly. All right, Miguel. My account was associated with another seller account and now is now in risk of deactivation. What do you suggest to do? Well, usually when you are related to another seller account, you usually get suspended. So I've got a feeling you've got a suspension coming down the pike. You're going to need to figure out why you have been related to that other account. And if it's inaccurate, which it often is, you're going to need to be able to explain to Amazon exactly what's going on. And that can come from a variety of ways. It can come from, getting sworn and signed affidavits. It can come from trying to show all of your business information. Like you're going to have to really put something together. These ones are pretty tough. And personally, I would suggest that you reach out to a professional. Reach out to, a Jeff Schick, a Seller Basics, someone like that, to have them walk you through this, because these ones can be really, really difficult to deal with. All right, Giselle, OA is dead, question mark. The answer to that is no. And you go on to say, maybe not for those who are selling consistently, but definitely Amazon is making it hard and way more risky. I think Amazon doesn't care and is withholding people's money. So I will agree with you on some things. Is selling on Amazon more difficult than it was in the past? Yes, absolutely. I'm not necessarily upset with Amazon about that. I think that the hurdle may have been too low. And we've talked about in the past how Amazon, it seems like this pendulum where they swing back and forth. Like it's too easy. And then they, swing back in the other direction, overcorrect, and then it kind of goes back. And listen, and I'm not just saying over the past year. I've seen this over the past 10 years. It's just the way it is. So is it more risky? Sure. There are brands that get gated. There are ASINs that get gated. Like, yes. However, like if people would listen to us and go wide and not deep, that risk is mitigated quite easily. It's a little bit harder, but it's definitely still possible. Now, is OA dead? No, OA is definitely not dead. It's never going to die. Could it die on Amazon? Sure, absolutely. But until supply chains become perfectly in parity with markets, there will always be an opportunity for arbitrage. And, does Amazon care? I think that they don't appreciate the sellers as much as they probably should. They realize that they hold a lot of the power. But I do think that deep down, they probably know that they would not have the marketplace they have without the seller. Like they do spend money on, technology and, space for inventory and trying to make shipping faster and trying to keep the customer on Amazon rather than going to other places. Heck, they spent they spent a bunch of money. I think it started with a B to get Thursday night NFL games on Amazon. That alone, it was probably a move that will pay for itself long term. They've also got the NBA coming, which is going to attract another audience to the Amazon platform. Like, I get it. I get that we all want to complain. And then we see other people complain and we're vindicated. They're complaining too. And so my complaint is right. here's my whole thing. We could start an Amazon business and, test it with $100, maybe grow it into something that turns into $1 million or 5 million. I mean, we've had people who have hit their first 10,000, hit their first 100,000 months, are doing $1 million a month, and are doing $100 million a year. And they've all been guests on our podcast. Like the scale that you can do with online arbitrage is ridiculous for what you actually have to invest in getting started. Imagine going out and starting a lawn care business or a window washing business. If I want to go out and start a window washing business, I guarantee that I would have to invest more than $500 to get started, because there would be some marketing, there'd be some materials, things like that. With Amazon, I could literally start with a $1 book and see if it sells. And possibly, if you pick the right one, sell it before you ever buy it. I actually did that the other night. My kids and I and my wife went into Target. We found something on the shelf, and I said, "Hey guys, put 5 of those in the cart. I'll bet you I sell them before we walk out the door." And sure enough, we hear the little beep. I'm like, "Hey, I got 3 of them sold, and we're heading to checkout." Like this is automatic money in our pocket. They didn't give a crap, but like there's not really any other business that I'm aware of where you can do that. And I was able to request that payment after I hit the ship button, and have that money back in my account the next day. Not a whole lot of place you can do that. Go chase down the people who you wash their windows and then don't pay you. And unfortunately, I know that all too well because I used to wash windows.
Yeah. And, Giselle's comment, it looks like she's watching us on Facebook. The part that says, I think Amazon doesn't care. I agree, because corporations don't have feelings. They have shareholders to answer to. And it's not, I don't think it's that much different than the relationship that Facebook has with their users. How many times, it's an endless cycle of Facebook making improvements or changing, adjustments to the news feed, whatever all their users see when they log on, and everyone complains about it. I can't, how many times I saw older family members just change it back, and then they, some stupid copy and paste, like, "Hey, here's how to get your old news feedback," just all this stupid stuff. But that's all done to be able to serve more ads to the users, right? Because they have to answer to the shareholders, right? So Amazon cares about us probably as much as Facebook cares about their users. They need us, but they don't care about us. The things that they do are for the bottom line. They have a share price that they need to, keep climbing higher, and they have shareholders that need to be satisfied. So they need to adjust things from a business perspective as much as they can, stopping just short of sellers leaving the platform, which is exactly what Facebook has to do. They have to be able to serve as many ads as possible without their user count dropping. So.
Yeah, I think that is something we forget as sellers quite often. It's not sellers that are putting food on the table. It is the customer. Like, the customer is the one spending money. Yeah, we spend money on inventory like any other retail business, but if we were trying to sell all this stuff on eBay, man, our hold times, your inventory turn rate would not be 6 times a year. It would be, half an inventory turn a year. So Amazon really is, they kind of hold a lot of power, because they have the customer. Sure. Yeah. Danton, will there be another OA challenge after the upcoming one in January? Yes, we will do probably 3 OA challenges in 2025 live. I'm not sure that I can do 4 next year, but 3 I can say yes to. Miguel, I received the call from Seattle today 5 minutes before receiving the performance notification. Association was coming from my Mexico account. Yeah, that one. You're going to want to get somebody to help you with that. That's not something that's fun. Perry, what's going on, man? We need to get Perry and Kim back on the show here soon. All right. I'm a bigger man, than this, and so I will go ahead and allow this. How much does it hurt that even in that team up north's worst year, they still kicked Ohio's ass? Yes, that game was it was a travesty. For some reason, it was a complete failure of the coaching staff. I don't blame the kids at all. I noticed that at least one of the kids had the yips on the field, and but in reality, it was the coaching staff's fault. This loss lies directly on Ryan Day's head. There are people calling for his head in Ohio, and probably rightfully so. I would imagine, and I don't know, but I would imagine the only thing keeping him on is that $32 million golden parachute he's got. But time will tell. I would imagine they are not going to fire him until after the playoff, which who knows how that'll go.
Yeah. So, however, it does hurt. Not to get too technical, but there was no ass kicked, right?
It was 3 points. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a 3-point victory, utter failure we lost that game more than you guys won it. If we're being honest, that's true deep in your heart of hearts. But the one thing that the two of us have in common with the team up north and its fans is we're all going to be watching the playoffs from our couches.
That is true. That is true. All right. Dataroo time. Received an intellectual property complaint on a Korean makeup bought from Marshall's. Problem is the receipt for the item is nowhere to be found. Oh, this is rough, man. Was told to contact the brand myself and have not heard back from them. Is there anything else I can do at the moment? It's only one item and I've not sold anything else from their brand. Well, the best you can do is continue to try to reach out to the brand. But the other thing you can do is you can try to go to the store. All right. And sometimes on their little inventory gun, they'll be able to pull up the item and you could, take a picture of the gun next to an item. You're gonna have to find another one of these at a Marshall's if you can. And I've seen that work in the past to fight these things, but you're going to be very hard pressed to do that. Like they don't have a copy of your receipt that you're going to be able to go in and ask them to reprint, which I don't know why they shouldn't. You had a credit card and they know how to do returns. So maybe there's an option, is maybe ask if they have that ability. But now, unfortunately, you're kind of up a creek without a paddle on this one, man. Jorge, I missed a certified letter from USPS yesterday. It was from a Rosenbaum. And so that is an Amazon attorney. Pretty sure it'll be a cease and desist letter. I almost guarantee that it will be. Any advice how to handle it? So here is what I have been told about letters from Rosenbaum. Apparently, they are worded in such a way that it's pretty easy to get an account suspension if they decide to go to the next step, which is file an actual IP complaint or complaint against you as a seller. So when it comes to VORIs and those uncertified letters, those go right in the trash. If I get something from Rosenbaum, typically I'm taking a little bit more seriously and I'm trying to sell through the inventory. However, you're going to want to read what the letter says first. I know I've never seen a letter from Rosenbaum asking where the inventory came from. And, as long as the inventory is legit, they don't have a problem. Usually it's a stop selling. But you could also reach out and talk to them. Like, they will talk to you. And might as well. They're going to bill their client for that time anyway. So if you have to go through the trouble of reading it, why not have a little $2.50 an hour go to the brand?
And definitely, Jorge, definitely pay attention to the letter, how it reads, because what I've seen in the past is sometimes that letter will say it's the second attempt, and what's happened is that same day that the letters tried to be delivered, they send an email, which is the first attempt. So you receive first and second attempts on the same day with a very short time frame, 24, 48 hours to stop selling. So if those, you essentially don't have time to sell out, unless it's a really fast moving product. But that may be something that you want to, close that listing. And I've actually reached out to that email address just because they were applying a lot of pressure, and it wasn't worth tanking the price on whatever I had left, 7-8 units, when you're looking at your account at risk, so
what a BS tactic.
Right.
Sending the email on the same day you know that the certified letter is going to get there. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll just say, shame on you, for using that kind of tactic. Like, that's, people wonder why people don't like lawyers. Like, that's the reason.
I don't wonder. I've got a running list in my head. I'm never at a loss for reasons.
Peter, account is at risk of deactivation due to FBM delivery missing Amazon delivery deadline. Shipments are pushing me to 2-day delivery shipments. Is this something new? My guess is that you may have your account set up with automated handling time, which is pushing you to 2-day delivery. You probably need to go in and change around the way things are inside of your account. Amazon wants sellers to get stuff to the customer fast because the customer wants it fast. So yeah, listen, you're not the only one. I made this mistake on a few items here recently. I don't do much FBM. Decided to merchant fulfill some items, those things I talked about earlier in the show. Had my template set up incorrectly or not what it should be for the new rules. Went in and made some changes, and now I'm good. Took my shipping cost from like $9 an item down to $5 an item, which, I'll put $4 in my pocket anytime I can. So go in, check your templates, check your settings, and do whatever you can to also try to stay OTDR protected. That way, if your shipments do not hit the Amazon delivery deadlines, because shipments will get slower as we get closer to the holiday, you want to be OTDR protected. Hey, Shannon, what's going on? Glad to have you here with us. Calling, is there or will there be a Facebook group for the January OA challenge? Yes, there will be. I will get that out to everybody in January. Flink, can a brand be ungated with an invoice where the billing address shows the address of the prep center? The address matching trick to avoid order cancellation. I am familiar with that trick. Absolutely. Yeah, you should be able to get ungated with that. That address should be in your ship from on Amazon. If you're using a prep center, that address should be in your account. So should not be a big deal. Dank Melon. Do you guys ever encounter issues with sites blocking and stopping you from placing orders? Oh, yeah. Today I got blocked from a website that I've been placing orders on for weeks. It absolutely happens. You can try to get around it. Try a VPN, try a different email address, change your shipping address, try PayPal, trying to think of some other things. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things you can try to do. Sometimes you are just going to get just hard blocked, depending on what technology they're using to prevent, a high amount of buyers or resellers. There is a site or two like Fenty Beauty. I want to say Glossier. I know Kat Von D. Like those sites, I can't get anything through. Doesn't matter what I do. No PayPal, no nothing. I've just stopped. So here is the second part to this. Don't allow this to make you think, oh, well, OA is dead. Because there are so many other sites. In our Q4 group, 590 some different sites that we've shared leads from this year. Some of those absolutely do not mind you spamming orders. I know that we use a site where we spam orders and have done so for months without a single cancellation at all. Well, maybe unless inventory was sold out or something, but they don't mind resellers one bit. And there are multiple sites out there like that. And also, this is another reason why I'm a big fan of the shallow and wide, or having a diverse catalog. So what? You can only buy 10 units. Okay. They're going to let you buy 10 units once a month. They may not let you buy 10 units once a day for a couple of weeks, but expand that catalog out a bit. Take what you can rather than getting booted, and grow your catalog horizontally rather than vertically.
Yeah, I only get banned from sites on days that end in Y.
Right.
So GameStop, Target, Fenty, you mentioned that. The list goes on and on and on.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Miguel, how is the Mexico account associated with another account, however the U.S. isn't? Unfortunately, that's not a question I can answer. I don't know if you've spent time in Mexico. I don't know if you've got family in Mexico. I don't know if there's another business that's named similarly to yours in Mexico. And I have no idea what Amazon is thinking either, or what kind of information they've given you. Unfortunately, I can't. I don't know. You're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to try to figure out how to prove to them that, hey, I don't know anybody in Mexico. Flink, what do you recommend for liquidating inventory for a non-U.S. resident? We cannot use eBay as far as I know. Well, you can always liquidate the price. If you need to tank the price, that's okay. I wouldn't see why you can't use eBay. You can make an eBay account from like anywhere in the world, unless you're in. I know there's like some countries where you just can't. But you can use a company like Axiom Prep, and they'll take your inventory that you can't sell on Amazon, and they will list it on eBay for you and then ship it to the customer. That's an option. All right. And Jorge, I had customer service for Cougar Paws contact me about my order the other day, wondering why I ordered 9 pairs. I said it's for my business. Perfect example of buy wide and shallow. Absolutely. Yeah, they don't want you buying very many. Which, you know what? This doesn't make sense to me with Cougar Paws, especially. Okay, because if I had a roofing crew, if I own a big roofing company, and I want to order these, they're roofing, specific roofing things. They know exactly what you're talking about. If I want to order these specialty roofing things for all my guys or girls, why wouldn't I be able to order 37 pair if I've got 37 workers? Doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah, there's the ones that are just built for multi-unit orders that are against resellers. That really makes you wonder,
Right?
I had
looking at you, officesupply.com.
Yeah. I cooked up a whole story with the guy that owns Meat Church, he canceled my order, and I just I would just got on one. I got on a BS run. I had this catering service, and I laid it on so thick. He was apologizing by the time it was done, and I try to get my pound of flesh if I get an order cancellation like that.
Absolutely. Shannon, saw a post in a Facebook group talking about Amazon not having any appointments for deliveries from the 15th to the 24th. Has this already been addressed? I have seen some people put this up, and I have seen people say, well, Amazon does sell in January too, so why really worry about it? But it seems like this was partial information. It To me, at least, it looks like that was for a hazmat inbound shipping. It was not for regular FBA. A lot of hazmat goes out west. We know that the west side of the country is way backed up, and that would be hazmat as well. I know there is one hazmat on the East Coast, which of course that's probably backed up too, because there's only are there 2 or 3 hazmat places? I think there's only 2 now. There used to be 3, and one of them burnt down.
That's right.
So, yeah. So I don't think that post was the full information. I have not seen anything that says they're not taking inbound SPD or small parcel delivery shipments. Oxjam, I just got approved to be an authorized reseller for a brand. Congratulations. How do I create a listing for my marketplace so I get the reviews from all marketplace? Do I just use the same ASIN and brand? So, okay. I'm going to have to read into this a little bit, but seems like you may have gotten an account with a brand and you're authorized as a reseller from the brand. That's great. That's something that so many people are never going to do. Now, I don't know what marketplace that you're in, but if the item already exists on Amazon, you cannot create another listing. You need to be on the listing that's already on Amazon. It's against Amazon terms of service to create duplicate listings. And so all of the reviews will go to that ASIN. And that's it. Now, if you are, let's say that you're in the UK, and the listing doesn't exist over there, which Amazon usually brings listings from the US over to the UK or other marketplaces as well, you're going to want to list on that listing as well. You're not going to want to create a whole new listing. Is the invoice to ungate, does it have an age? In other words, does the invoice have to be recent to say 3 months? They tell you what date, and it's for ungating invoices. Is it 6 months?
180?
100, yeah, I think it's 180 days. So yeah, but when you go to get ungated, they will tell you your invoice needs to be before or after X date. If you do get blocked from a site, is it worth contacting customer support? I contacted them. They said a different team is looking at it and will look into it. I have rewards on it I wish to keep. Yeah, it's always worth it. I flashed a little smile and maybe a little leg to the ladies over at Walgreens. And when I once got blocked from buying from Walgreens, and that did the trick, so it's always worth it because your competition's not going to do it, so you might as well. What did Michael Scott say? You miss every shot you don't take, or something like that.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, exactly. So might as well. All right. We've been going an hour and 10 minutes. If you have any other questions, let us know. But Chris, I wanted to end. Did I ever tell you that once when I wanted to make some extra money, that I worked for a short time at a pizza shop?
Did you?
Yeah,
Nice.
I needed the dough. And that one's going to be a thinker for those of you in Ann Arbor.
I'll spoil it for him. The K silent.
All right. Guys, that's it for this week. We'll be back next Wednesday at 5 p.m. to do this all over again. Hope you guys have a great rest of Q4. Hope you guys crushed Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and we will talk to you soon.